TK Products is going to show you today how to repair a leaking concrete crack in a wall quickly and easily. Before you begin, you will need a standard caulking gun, as shown here, and a utility knife. The kit's going to include an instructional CD along with written instructions, which we recommend you review. It's got some very nice tips in there for making it easier to accomplish the repair. Also included are two 10-ounce tubes of urethane, which should be more than enough for doing a 10-foot repair. Surface paste that sets up in 30 minutes for attaching ports, and then an accessory kit with mixing sticks, gloves, the surface ports, etc. To begin, you want to uncap your surface paste and have some ports ready to put on the wall. You're going to mix as much paste as you can apply in about 5 minutes, and always apply this to a dry wall. A wet wall the paste will not stick to. What we're going to do is mix up a little batch like we talked about until you have a consistent gray color, and then begin placing the ports by spinning the bottom of the ports into the paste, making sure as not to cover the hole in the bottom of the port, and then attaching the ports to the wall. The mixing should take about a minute or a minute and a half, and then it gives you another 3 or 4 minutes to work with to start applying paste. And you may quicken after a while, but it's a good amount to work with. Put your first port at 8 inches, and then every subsequent port at an additional 8 inches. Resist the temptation to put the first port at the floor level. That's a very small part of the crack and difficult to inject, and the urethane will work its way down there. If you have a very, very thin crack, you can put them a little closer together if you'd like. And then you're going to paste around each port. Make sure you have enough material around the port so you can't see through to the base. And then put an 1.5 inch wide band in between the ports to cover the rest of the crack. This is one of the two most important parts of the process. You're going to want to make sure there aren't any little veins of cracks that are springing off from the original crack. And then do final touch-ups. Maybe take a little camera a flashlight and make sure that you didn't miss any pinholes. Then you want to wait about 30 to 40 minutes until it's fingernail hard, or you can't dent it with a fingernail, and then you'll be ready for the injection process itself. You go to inject, you want to grab the urethane tube. Make sure you've got one of the nozzles handy too. We're going to cut the tip off of that injection tube. Always cut away from yourself. Attach the nozzle. Screw it on. Place it in the caulking gun. You're going to have a cap ready to place over your first port after you begin the injection process. Make sure the gun's feeding a little bit of urethane, and then place the nozzle tip into the first port. And this is the second most important part. Very gently start beginning injecting the bottom port. Patience is key here. You want to get as much urethane into the bottom of this crack as is manageable. And a little tip, use warm urethane. Urethane should be at 70 or 80 degrees. It'll keep it thinner and it'll make it easier to inject. After you're injected into the first port, it should start coming out the second port. Then you move on up the wall and continue until you're completed with your repair. There's more urethane than you probably need in this kit, so in this particular example, we stopped injection probably 8 to 10 inches from the top, and you'll still see at the end of this video the urethane came out the top. So it does go all the way through the wall. It expands and plugs very nicely. And unlike epoxy, if you have a little leak, as you see the urethane plugs itself and makes for the excellent water stopper. And it will fade out here, and you're going to see the completed repair with urethane coming out the top, and there it is on the outside, and a successful repair.